Hey, what's going on, Broncos country? Welcome to another edition of ZLN. I am your host, Zaid here. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about the Denver Broncos and their 2024 NFL draft selections. As results of these selections, I want to get into all of my thoughts and opinions on what we witnessed in the draft and the good, the bad when it comes to these selections that the Broncos have made. Obviously, the Broncos have made 7 selections in this year's draft. So I want to get into the quarterback, the edge rusher, the wide receivers, and also the CBs and the running backs, and even the centers that the Broncos have selected as well going into the training camp, and obviously going into the potential positions that will be implemented going into this NFL season. So before anything, like always, please be sure to like this video, and of course follow me all across social media: Facebook, Instagram, X. I'm also on TikTok and Threads as well, so the links will be in the description of this live stream, so you guys check me out on social media, and of course subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Without further ado, let's just get right into the Broncos selections in the 2024 NFL draft selections. So obviously, there's not anything too surprising with the first overall pick and the 12th overall pick selection in the first round. The Denver Broncos selected Bo Nix out of Oregon. It's not a big surprise. Obviously, the mock drafts have predicted the Denver Broncos will be selecting Bo Nix in the draft. I personally, though, wanted the Broncos to get the best player available. Obviously, there was a lot of them that came before Bo Nix. One in particular, but the 13th overall pick to the Raiders, and that was Brock Bowers. But it is what it is. I think this, more than anything, this selection was a Sean Payton move than a Broncos move, if anything. But that's just my own personal opinion when it comes to the selections for the Denver Broncos with the 12th overall pick. And there was rightfully so. When it comes to my opinion here, it's rightfully valid because, like I mentioned, Brock Bowers, and of course there was Jared Verse and also Dallas Turner. Two big edge rushers that could have been a huge game changer for that particular position in the defensive line, in my opinion. But obviously, the Broncos went for a future a future pick when it comes to the quarterback position. And in my opinion, when it comes to Bo Nix, he has the arm, he has the confidence, the experience under his belt in during his time in Oregon and also in Auburn. But at the same time, when it comes down to it, I'm like the type of person that's like, I need to see it to believe it type of thing when it comes to his expectations and the hype around Bo Nix as the future quarterback for the Denver Broncos. The reason I say this is because this has been multiple years of different quarterbacks every single year. We thought that Russell Wilson will be the game changer in that particular position, but obviously it did not work out, and now we are in the scenario where we're going through another quarterback process. And now, more than anything, it's a quarterback competition going into the in training camp. And obviously, Bo Nix is in the whole front of things when it comes to the new era of quarterbacks in Broncos country. So, I'm optimistic, but at the same time, like I said, I need to see it to believe it type of thing when it comes to Bo Nix. But, I wish you nothing but the best. If anything, I just preferred that the Broncos went for a better selection in the 12th overall pick. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But that's Bo Nix for you. He's our new quarterback potentially going into next year. But things may differ. You never know. Things may change. Maybe um, Stidham will be the new starting quarterback for the Broncos, or Ben DiNucci. I mean, like I mentioned, it is a weird draft, no, a quarterback room when it comes to who we have right now. And even Zach Wilson with the trade that we made with the New York Jets, he's also part of the quarterback room as well. And now Bo Nix added on. It's going to be very competitive. Who will get the job is sort of remains to be seen, but it's kind of leaning to Bo Nix potentially getting the starting role for the Denver Broncos. But we just have to wait and see about that. So that's our first selection in the first round of the NFL, and that is Bo Nix. And really looking forward to what he will bring to the table. And like I said, a see it to believe it type of situation when it comes to Bo Nix being the future quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Obviously, second round selection, the Broncos didn't have one due to the assets that they traded for Russell Wilson. And that was just a complete disaster when it comes to that particular move that the Broncos made a couple of years ago. But it is what it is. This is where we're at, and now we are in a situation where we gave up a lot of assets for him, and now we're just paying the price for it. But now more than anything, we just had to go for the needs in the Broncos roster, and they absolutely got a home run when it comes to the third round selection in Jonah Ellis, edge rusher out of Utah. Guys, when it comes down to this selection, this was a good move. Good move for the Denver Broncos. I'm very impressed by this move when it comes down to it. Even though we do have some really good players at the edge rusher position, but at the same time, this guy will bring a lot to the table. The only flaw that I'll have against him is that he just needs to beef up, gain some muscle in the offseason and training camp. And that's what most edge rushers do going into when they get drafted. They right away go to the gym and just get bulked up for the potential idea of starting or maybe just being part of the rotations or multiple positions. And this is what Jonah Ellis will bring to the table. And he has a good lineage. He has a good lineage under his belt. When it comes to family history, obviously his father, Luther Ellis, former Bronco, in his final years of his NFL career, he played in early 2000s with the Denver Broncos back in, I believe, 2004, I believe. So he has that type of atmosphere of being part of Broncos country and, as a kid and all that. So because of his father. And also, for many years playing, I believe, with the Lions, I believe. I might be mistaken. Maybe it was the Rams. But yeah, he has his father when it comes down to that. And he also has brothers playing in the NFL. So he has like I said, a lineage of family members playing for the NFL. So he has that experience, the professionalism to potentially, learn very quick of how to be a great, you know, edge rusher in this league. So this is just a good selection. Like I said, he brings the athleticism, he brings the speed as well to going after quarterbacks. So that's another good trait that I just love about him when it comes to his skill set and what he brings to the table for the Denver Broncos at the edge position. So this is a good selection. I have to say, better than in my opinion when it comes to the Bo Nix selection. But it is what it is. This was more of a John Payton move when it comes to the quarterback position. But when it comes down to the Jonah Ellis selection, it was a Broncos move. More than the GM of George Payton. When it comes to that particular position selection. But this was a good selection. I have to say. And if I had to give a grade, I'll give an A plus selection for the Denver Broncos for Jonah Ellis. So that's just me. I'm a big fan of his, and this was a good selection for the Denver Broncos. Obviously, the fourth round selections for the Denver Broncos, they went for a wide receiver, a familiar face for Bo Nix. Obviously, the Broncos selected a teammate of his, and that is Troy Franklin. With the 102 selection of the fourth round selection in the NFL draft. This was honestly a move that obviously benefits Bo Nix. This was the right move to potentially just make him feel comfortable when it comes to the selections or just his just going into the NFL in his first year as a rookie, bringing in your target that you've been throwing for many years in Oregon, and for a guy who broke a lot of records over there. I mean, this was a good selection in my opinion when it comes to that particular position. Just building that confidence level for Bo Nix and just bringing his favorite guy uh, to uh, to the organization. So uh, I don't know a lot about him, when it comes to what he brings to the table, but all I know is that he has the speed and he has the capabilities of just catching balls any chance that he gets. I mean, he has good reception yards during his times with Oregon. And also the touchdowns. I believe he had 18 touchdowns last year. So, talk about a guy who was his favorite to throw to when it comes to Bo Nix and Troy Franklin. So this was a good selection. I have to say, right move for the Denver Broncos to just build that confidence level for Bo Nix when it comes to training camp and what he can obviously improve on going into his rookie year and just for many years to come. When it comes to the potential of him just sticking around for the Denver Broncos for many years. So it doesn't really, in my opinion, break any sort of you know controversy when it comes to the wide receiver positions. I still think Cortland Sutton is going to be the number one guy going into the regular season for because obviously this is Cortland Sutton we're talking about playing for many years with the Denver Broncos and obviously last year having 10 touchdowns. It's just it doesn't really break the type of rankings of who will get the starting role at the wide receiver position. Uh, Mims is also a guy that's not going to get anything, breaking apart, when it comes to his position and his standings in the wide receiver class. So all I have to say is when it comes to Troy Franklin, he just needs to build himself up to potentially have a good role on the team potentially. So we just have to wait and see about that. But a good selection for the Denver Broncos. Chris Abrams, Drain, the CB out of Missouri. This was honestly a very interesting move. I have to say, if anything, there was much better CB in that particular round, in my opinion. But the Broncos went for a guy who has speed and has the athleticism when it comes to that CB position. The only flaw that I have against him is that his size and his height. He's only 5'11" at the CB position, and he weighs around 175 pounds going into this draft. So, if anything, it's not the right pairing that I would have next to one of the best CBs in the league, and that is Patrick Surtain Jr. PS2. When it comes down to it, I mean, he has not the best traits to have the right pairing next to, in my opinion. But the Broncos did go in free agency and got a good CB when it comes to starting for the Denver Broncos next year. So, if anything, he's going to be more of a slot CB, or at best plays more of the uh, safety position, maybe, but it's more of a slot CB position more than anything. So he's not going to be like the starter for the Broncos at the CB position. So, um, but if anything, it's an all right selection for the Denver Broncos, if anything. So, fifth round selection, the Broncos went for a running back. If anything, I'm not sure a lot about him, but all I know is that he is beefed up. He has a muscle on him, and he has the type of thickness, when it comes to potentially, go into, two downs or like 2 yards at the red zone type scenario where he can just go for a touchdown. And that's been the struggle for the Broncos last year when it comes to that particular area of the game last year, where some of our starters in the running back room couldn't get over the 2 yard line and go for a touchdown type of thing. But I believe he will bring that to the table, when it comes down to it. So, other than that, I mean, there was no 6th round selections, but there were two 7th round selections, and I don't really have a lot of huge good opinions about this, other than maybe the wide receiver who's honestly one of the oldest players going into this NFL draft, and probably the oldest one, really. The guy's like 26 years old, being drafted. Nothing wrong with that, but yeah, just have to point that out. A wide receiver um, out of Utah. So I guess the teammate of Jonah Ellis. So, and I think I saw maybe like a post that he has a good amount of respect for Jonah Ellis. I think he called him the mayor of Salt Lake City. So this is, I guess, a good trait to have. To once again, the Broncos going for another teammate to build some confidence um, for Jonah Ellis going into the Broncos organization. So, but at the same time, I mean, I don't think he doesn't really need that much confidence because, he has a history of being part of Denver culture because of his father, and just having the culture of being in the NFL with his brothers and his father. So I think the only, like I said, the only improvement that I will have to give to Jonah Ellis is that he just needs to get beefed up, build some muscle going into the NFL when it comes down to it. So yeah, and then obviously the Broncos went for a center with the final selection. Don't have a huge opinion on him, but it's more than anything just building depth is very important when it comes down to it. But I don't know, it's just something about the wide receiver selection. I think the wide receiver room is already beefed up already when it comes to the depth. So they should have went for probably another CB in my opinion. But it is what it is. We got a selection with the wide receiver, and obviously the last selection with the center. But other than that, I mean, this was if I had to give a grade for the Denver Broncos and their selections in this year's draft, I would probably give it a B minus. Because like I mentioned, when it comes to the 1st round pick selection, there were much better players, better than Bo Nix. This was just a Sean Payton move, in my opinion. And if anything, sure, we should look for many different options at the quarterback position. If anything, there was not a lot of huge available quarterbacks that the Broncos could have gone after because obviously cap reasons because of the Russell Wilson release and him departing Denver. So it was a type of situation where the Broncos just had to deal with what they had in front of them, and obviously they went for uh, really not big free agent names, but at the same time, I mean, it is the situation that they have to deal with because of the Russell Wilson situation. So they got it done. And obviously, with the results of the draft, it was a B minus in my opinion. And I just had to say, once again, when it comes to the wide receiver situation, it is the situation where I have to say it is a see it to believe it type of thing. And my hope is that they will take this confidence when it comes to the quarterback and try to build him the best situation possible if he is going to be the future for the Broncos going into next year and for many years to come. Because it's the Bo Nix era. That's what it is now, and I'm I'm on a loop here, and I'm gonna keep repeating myself. Is to see it to believe it because of the many years that we had with quarterbacks. This is one just has to work. It just has to work. So we just have to wait and see. So I really want to know your thoughts and your opinions, guys, about this Broncos selection, and what do you guys think about the Broncos selections. I really appreciate if you give me your comments and your thoughts and your opinions in the comment section down below. And of course, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and of course, follow me all across social media: Facebook, Instagram, X. I'm also on TikTok and Threads. And I on occasion don't really talk about Broncos news a lot because my content is basically more Lakers more than anything. But when it comes down to drafts and free agents and when it comes to big moves that my Broncos make, I like to give my thoughts and opinions about that. And then if you guys appreciate that, please subscribe to the channel and, of course, like this video and show me love support by just sharing my videos, and of course, subscribing if you like this type of content. And if you're Lakers fans, this is the channel for you as well. So thank you all so much for joining me and liking this video, and of course watching my thoughts and my opinions. So I really appreciate it, and I'll see you all in the next live stream. And I also do live streams as well in the next video. So please be sure to show me love, support there, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Go Broncos. Take it easy, guys. Stay safe out there.